Hello friends, and welcome to another WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado. I hope you're doing well on this beautiful Monday afternoon. Seems like the fall is here to stay, but hopefully we'll have some more days of that nice sunshine. Anyway, I'm excited to announce a new weekly segment to the channel. I've been thinking about this for quite some time. And when I first started my channel, WSIB Truth Matters with Joe Machado back about 6 months ago, I had pretty much one goal, and that was to impart information, as much information as I could, to injured workers all over the province of Ontario, information that they could use to help themselves with respect to their WSIB claim. As most of you know who've been following along with the channel, I own and operated the largest paralegal firm in Ontario with over 10,000 clients and over $300 million in settlements over the course of about 30 years. And during that time, I was privileged in some ways to gain a pretty good understanding of how our workers' compensation system in Ontario works, and the appeal system as well, which involves the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal, the external and last level of appeal system within the workers' compensation system in Ontario. And although my firm was able to enjoy a significant amount of success, which of course translates to our clients and how we were able to improve their lives, we also had failures, as in with any business. And you can't continue to improve and succeed without acknowledging your failures rather, and doing your best to improve upon them so that they're less. And when dealing with the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board, those failures can be catastrophic for clients. We're dealing with decision making that has an enormous impact on people's lives. And there's a significant amount of responsibility that comes with that, to do your absolute best to succeed for them. And of course, everything has to be done within the law, and not every case is going to be successful. And that's a reality that we all have to contend with. But we all try to minimize that. So in my quest to embark on this next level of my career with this YouTube channel, I also formed a company, WSIBsettlements.com, where I was able to create and develop tools and support systems to help injured workers in a meaningful way, and tools that worked over the period of 30 years for both myself and my paralegals within my company. And I think we've done a good job in putting together a number of tools that a lot of people are now able to use to successfully manage their claims. So, but that's not enough for me. Over 30 years, I haven't really seen any improvements in the system. None whatsoever. In fact, I've seen the system in terms of fairness and justice to injured workers deteriorate. I believe it's gotten worse. And in 3 major legislative amendments over the last 3 decades, all that the WSIB has been able to do, in my opinion, is limit entitlement to legitimate claims that are made by injured and ill workers and their families, and put up barriers to prevent access to important benefits such as loss of earnings, healthcare benefits, and support in return to work efforts. In these three major areas where the WSIB should absolutely put its best foot forward within the principles established over a century ago when the WSIB was formed, it has failed, in my opinion, considerably. And this has in some ways led me to create this new segment. It's a once a week episode on my channel on Wednesdays. And the focus is going to be entirely on the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal. And there are several reasons why I believe that this new segment, which is apart from all of the videos that I'm going to continue to do, as I have been over the past 6 months on many issues and subjects dealing with pre-1990 Bill 162, Bill 99 claims. I wanted to really have one episode that would focus exclusively on the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal, because I believe that that's the only way that injured workers currently, at this time, are going to get justice, that are going to be given a fair opportunity to present their case and to have an organization that is committed to providing justice. And justice doesn't always mean that you're going to get what you want. In my opinion, it means that you're going to get what's allowable within the law. And we all know the law has limitations, and we all have an opinion as to what those limitations are. I have a number of them myself, but we are dealing with a law, and with its limitations, I'm looking at the best organization that can bring about justice for injured workers. And I didn't come to this decision lightly, because the last thing I need is more work. And this is more work. But given my intimate knowledge of the system over the past 30 years, it makes that work a little bit less laborious. So it's no surprise to many of you who've been following along that I have zero faith in the WSIB decision-making process. And that's decisions by case managers at the operating level, managers and directors within the executive branch, and of course the WSIB's appeals branch. I have zero faith in the WSIB's appeals branch, even more so or much less than I have in case managers and the executive branch. Because appeals resolution officers are supposed to be that last line within that organization of experienced, knowledgeable individuals that should be impartial and that should apply or employ their collective experiences over decades to bring about the best possible decision-making process for injured workers. And when I look at decisions made by the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal, to me, it continuously demonstrates that there is a humongous gap and contrast between how AROs, appeals resolution officers within the WSIB and vice chairs within the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal look at the law, interpret the law, and apply the law. Now, one of those reasons is very obvious, and that is that the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal vice chairs those who make decisions or who bring into the three-panel member appeal hearing the legal aspect of the support to render a decision legal within the law, within the policies laid out or established or produced by the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board. I don't know any appeals resolution officers that are lawyers. So they're already operating at a deficit. Nonetheless, that's no excuse. Because if they are truly diligent and willing to make the best possible decisions for claimants, and they have doubt or want to be thorough, they can go to the Workplace Safety and Insurance Appeals Tribunal Library, or CANLI, Ontario, which is a database of decisions made by the tribunal and other tribunals within Canada. And they're going to find tribunal jurisprudence on any number of issues. And you've heard me talk about tribunal jurisprudence before. And they could rely on those resources in areas where they might find themselves less experienced, maybe less informed. And if they're not going to allow, or if they want to put their egos aside and make the best possible decision for an injured worker, they could rely on that amazing resource to try to be fair. But I see them reject that, very often. Well, we don't rely on precedent, yada, yada, yada. We just like to continue to make our own mistakes and not give a shit, which is the way I interpret this, because I see that all too often. So anyone who wants to do a good, fair, and just job and is proud to do a good job will rely on all resources available, particularly when dealing with someone's life, to make the best possible decision. But they don't. So I'm very critical of the Workplace Safety Insurance Board's Appeals Services Division. And I believe that it should be dismantled. There's absolutely no useful purpose, in my opinion, for their existence. In one of my prior videos, I talked about how CBP has the Social Services Tribunal and Ontario Disability Support Program. They also have an internal reconsideration and review process, and then there's a tribunal that's external. And the WSIB has that with case managers and the operating area executives. They don't need an appeals branch. I believe that the appeals branch is detrimental to injured workers who are fighting for benefits. I don't believe that they're partial and that they're fair, that they're impartial and fair. I believe that there's a significant lack of accountability. I believe that I was going to use incompetence, but I'm going to move away from my more aggressive language and say that inexperienced. No, it's not inexperience. I think it's incompetence. Because when you're put in a place to do a job that requires a certain level of competence and you demonstrate that you can't do it, it's incompetence. There's no other way there's no other word for it. I don't believe that they adhere to their own law and their policies. I believe that their decisions are far too ambiguous or arbitrary. And ultimately, I believe that it only contributes to delays for injured workers getting justice. It's just more time waiting for nothing. And we all know that you need answers today because your mortgage payment, your rent payment, your car payment, and food on the table, and to support your children, and college education, and all of those things, they're due today. Not in 3 months or 6 months or 6 years or 10 fucking years. Today. And I believe that the WSIB's Appeals Services Division, all it does, and it may be by design, and I could talk about that for about an hour, is a detriment to injured workers, and it should be disbanded completely. And give injured workers an opportunity to go directly to the tribunal, where they're going to be given an opportunity to have their case heard and to have the law and policies applied in a consistent manner. Why? Because tribunal jurisprudence shows that the tribunal, and a lot of people may disagree with this, other representatives viewing this right now, but tribunal jurisprudence is created based on a consistency and a consensus that's formed between vice chairs making decisions, so that there is some semblance of consistency in the decision-making process. My extensive research and review of recent tribunal decisions on a number of issues stemming from pre-1990 legislation to Bill 162 legislation and Bill 99 legislation, it shows, it demonstrates clearly that appeals resolution officers are continuing to make the same asinine decisions with disregard for the law and policy as they have been making 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Nothing's changed. And despite, again, I'm going to use this term, tribunal jurisprudence, nothing's changed. And there's a need for change. I believe that if you offer or complain and highlight the issues, but can't offer constructive criticism or, better yet, solutions to the problem, then you're just whining. I don't like whiners. Anybody who knows me, I don't like whiners. I don't have time for it. I don't have patience for bullshit, for people that are whining because they didn't get this and that and yang, 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 yang. No, I'm an injured worker too. I know what it's like to be injured and have to deal with adversity, and everybody knows what it's like to deal with adversity. So when I started this channel and when I started WSIBsettlements.com, I knew that I was going to be highlighting, in my opinion, deficits, massive deficits within this system that was set up to support injured workers and employers as well. But I also knew that I needed to provide solutions, helpful solutions, solutions that worked, tools that worked. And this is one of them. This weekly segment, I want to talk about issues, decisions that you, as the injured worker, would likely never hear about unless you knew where to go to do your research, how to review it, understand the laws, and then be able to derive a reasonable understanding as to how that applies to you and how you can take certain steps to improve your situation. It's impossible. So one of the key aspects of this channel is for me to review and analyze notable tribunal decisions, to highlight where the WSIB continues to make these mistakes, continues to make these prejudicial mistakes towards injured workers, and how the tribunal looks at it and adjudicates those cases and renders decisions and provides justice for injured workers on a variety of issues stemming from, again, pre-1990 claims all the way to present. I also want to be able to provide interviews with injured workers, their experiences and how those experiences can help others going through the system. I want to be able to do interviews as well with other representatives and other stakeholders, individuals who are out there, who are supporting injured workers in whichever way they can. I want to be able to talk to union representatives and what they're doing and some of the issues they're dealing with in representing their members before the WSIB and the tribunal, and issues that they're experiencing, barriers that they're having to deal with, and also healthcare providers, and to get their input. Why? Because I want to make sure that I highlight three very important factors. And that's how the WSIB liberally uses their non-cooperation policies. In other words, if you don't do what we want, we're going to cut you off. Yeah, that seems to be coercion, extortion, intimidating, threatening. Yeah, all of those apply. But the WSIB uses that, decision makers use that policy liberally. And we need to be able to highlight that, and we need to be able to put a stop to it. The other one is how the WSIB continuously ignores the medical professionals that are taking care of and providing health care to injured workers and accepting their own qualified or unqualified healthcare providers or wannabe healthcare providers, whatever. There's a lot of that going on, and it needs to stop, because these people are making decisions based on that affect real health issues for injured workers. And the third is the WSIB's ongoing deeming practices, how they use deeming to pull out of the air jobs and earnings profiles and projections to fit their justification of denying an injured worker the lack of support for work reintegration or the lack of support for full loss of earnings benefits, where the law would actually support that. And it just doesn't stop. So these are what I consider the most significant infractions that are pushed upon, brought upon injured workers today. So my first video that I'm going to talk about is what I refer to as the 12-year nightmare. And I'm sure some of you watching this video have your own nightmare that you've experienced, or you're probably still in it. And so on Wednesday, my very first episode of this new segment, I'm going to talk about the 12-year-old nightmare that this person has gone through that should have never happened. And it took 4 tribunal appeals, 4 tribunal appeals to finally get justice. I still can't believe it. But there's more. There's a lot more. And you're going to see through this segment that the system is failing miserably. We need this to do something collectively to change it. You know, we're living in an era where it seems like government accountability is rampant. It doesn't seem as though politicians are as eager to get your votes, as eager to ensure that they fulfill the promises that have been made. And I can see this by looking at what's going on in our world today, that it's becoming more and more prevalent. And it's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we can only have an impact on the things that are within our control, our area of expertise, and what we can do as individuals to contribute to change, positive change, to make people's lives just that much better. And my friends, that's my commitment to you. I'm going to enjoy this one weekly segment with this channel to try and affect and impact change for injured workers in our province. And then the rest of the week, I'm going to continue to do my regular weekly videos on all matters pertaining to WSIB, from pre-1990 to Bill 99 claims, and offering tools that work, that can help you, that can support you, and offering insights and experience of over 3 decades to hopefully make things a little bit better for you and for your families. All right, friends, as always, look forward to the video on Wednesday, and thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and please share it with others. It's going to be quite a ride, and I'm looking forward to it. As always, my friends, take care.